Welcome to another episode of my story. My guest today is a beautiful wife, mommy to Zach, Olivia, and Philippa, businesswoman, creative, Vanessa Govender. Welcome to the set of my story. I'm so pleased that you took up the invitation to come and tell us your story.
Thank you, Rhonda. What a great opportunity to join you. I love being in your gorgeous home. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for asking me to join you.
And thank you for accepting the invitation, Vanessa. You're brave. And so I just want to go back a couple of years. We know each other through family connections, through your two sisters, through church connections. I know your mommy quite well. And then I meet you at, I think it was a stalk party, heard all about you, but knew your other two sisters better than what I knew you. But today we sit because of other family connections. And Vanessa, you're here today to tell us about your story.
Yes.
So I know that you're married.
Correct.
I almost want to say to this Indian James Bond.
My Maharaja.
Love it. And then you had this incredible child called Zach.
Yes, Zachary.
Everybody loves Zachary. And your mom and I used to share stories of travel and then grandkids, etc. And then I saw you at a stalk party and you had this incredible belly and you were going to have another baby. And as true to form as woman, we ask you, so how far are you? When is baby due? What it is? And you said it's a girl. And we asked, do you have a name? And you said you did have a name. And so I want to pick up the story through your second pregnancy. Right. Tell us about that.
So yes, we had our son Zachary, and he was almost 3, and we then were pregnant with Olivia, and it was a great pregnancy. I was kind of tiny during my pregnancy, so I didn't feel huge like I did with Zachary, and we had Olivia, and she was born at 39 weeks.
So like all kind of normal pregnancy, healthy.
Beautiful pregnancy, yes. We had her at 39 weeks, and just half an hour after Olivia's birth, the pediatrician walked into our room and said, "We suspect your daughter has Down syndrome." And Dion, my husband, Down syndrome? What do you mean? I mean, how can you tell? And the doctor said she has almond-shaped eyes, she has a misshaped finger, and she has a sandal gap. Those are the soft markers.
Tell us what a sandal gap
is. A sandal gap is basically, if those are your toes, or if you think of your toes, the big toes sort of separated a little bit. It just looks like that. So when she stands, it looks like it's still separated.
Okay.
That's the only difference. And he said, and those are the soft markers that they could see at birth. And Dion's like, but doctor, it can't be. She's got small eyes, but her mom has small eyes. and I just remember Dion and this doctor like having a little bit of a banter.
And you lying there and
thinking, I'm so in love with this baby. And he said, you'll have trouble breastfeeding her because she'll have low muscle tone and she most probably won't breastfeed easily. And he left and I breastfed her and she latched perfectly. So what we had to do was do tests to find out if it's confirmed that she had Down syndrome. And it took about 7 days. I needed to culture the bloods. And Dion and I sort of looked at each other after the news and we're like, what are we going to do with the news? And he was like a puddle on the floor. He was crying. But I just fell in love with this beautiful little girl. Mm-hmm. We had quite a traumatic birth with Zachary compared to Ollie's birth. Zachary had water in his lungs, so I didn't get to see him for 12 hours after the birth. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Ollie, I gave birth to her and I got to hold her. The experience was just magical.
Yes.
And I had this instant connection with my baby and it was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So... yes.
So what did you feel at the time when you heard this news?
I actually said, I don't care what you tell me, doctor. nothing will change the love that I have for my baby.
Yes.
That's what I said to the doctor.
So now you have to give this news to your parents
family,
and your
yes.
family, and
Who had just been, they were all at the hospital when we had given birth, and they were all waiting in the waiting room, and so they actually went for lunch, and they said they'll come back and see us later. And then Dion had to make the phone call, and the first phone call was to my dad, because he handles news best.
Okay, yeah.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to tell Dion's mom because we lost her a while back. So, so it was my family predominantly that we called, and they were just, they couldn't talk. They were sick. They were just, no one knew what to do with the news, because we have never been around anyone with Down syndrome before. I know someone here or there who has Down syndrome, but you know, they're not part of my life, so I don't know how to treat them or speak to them.
Yes.
And we decided immediately we were going to get in touch with the Down Syndrome Association of the Western Cape. Dion made a phone call. There was this amazing lady who spoke to him. Her name's Tineke. And Tineke said, don't worry, Dion, we'll support you. And we then said to her, actually, you know what? Initially, we didn't want to read up about Down syndrome too much, because we didn't get the blood results back.
Okay.
So we wanted to know exactly where we were at before we made the phone calls.
Yeah.
So obviously our family knew where we were at.
Yes.
And everyone was praying, oh, it can't be, you know.
Yeah.
And Rhonda, it was actually incredible. The day the pediatrician phoned Dion.
And she was diagnosed.
The day that she was diagnosed, 7 days later, I was sitting on the couch in the lounge. Dion was in the office, and he said, yes, doctor. And I knew it was a positive result. And I told Dion, she's perfect. And he said, yes, she is. That's when he spoke to Tineke, and we said, we need you to come and give us information, as much information. We don't want to ask Google, we want you to tell us. Yes. So we actually gathered my entire family, and you know the size of my family.
I do.
And friends, and we said, come along and come with questions. Even if it's a silly question, come and ask those questions. And we went to my mom's home, and she told us everything.
And this lady came to the house.
She came to the house. She said she'd never experienced this before, where everyone was like, we're in this together. Yes, and so she told us all everything we needed to know. What is Down syndrome? It's an extra copy of the 21st chromosome. What does that mean?
Yes.
It means that Ollie has an intellectual disability, so she develops a little slower. So that's basically it in my mind. Ollie wasn't born with a hole in her heart or a heart concern, so her heart was perfect. A lot of 50% of kids born with Down syndrome does have that. So we were blessed in that way that she didn't have any, so she didn't have to have a heart operation. Yes.
So Vanessa, when we look at that 7 days and before the lady from the Down syndrome organization comes and your family is there,
yes.
How was Ollie during that time? Was she?
She was amazing.
Was she amazing?
She was amazing.
Was she like
she was
normal
actually,
and latching on and
she's
drinking?
Latching, she's drinking. I did exactly the same routine. I'm extremely routine as a mommy because at 7 o'clock at night, I don't want to see a child. I get a kind of a rash. I don't want to see any children. They need to go to bed. Oh, that's when I want to spend time with my husband.
Yes.
So I'll pop the kettle on so that we can have a cup of tea. And so I made sure that my kids are in bed by 7. And that week, whatever, I would do exactly the same bath time routine, the feeding routine.
And she went into a routine.
That routine.
That's amazing.
She was incredible. The only difference was that I had her in her little crib in my bedroom for a longer time.
Yes.
I think Zachary was in his bed at 3 weeks, but she was sort of a little longer because we just wanted to monitor her. But she was perfect. She was actually better than Zachary. You'll understand if you had to hear that. But yes.
So now you come to terms with this news.
Yes.
The lady talks to all of you. She's been diagnosed as Down syndrome,
yes.
and now your journey actually starts.
Correct.
So you come to
now we still don't know. We go, okay, what do we need to know? And you sort of something happens and you need to figure it out. So what was maybe the first couple of things? You bump into someone else who has special needs or differently abled, should I say?
Yes.
I would immediately, if I see someone in a wheelchair and it's someone with cerebral palsy, in the past I would never be I would sort of don't know where to look.
Yeah. You don't make eye contact.
I don't make eye contact. I would go over to the mom or the dad, whoever's pushing the child. I would say, "Hi, I'm Vanessa. Our daughter has Down syndrome. Tell us about your son." You know, I sort of wanted to know more about differently abled people, and it just made it so much fun for our family to not just know about what we know.
Yes.
And my son would go to the library, and we would walk in Tiger Valley, and we would see someone else with Down syndrome, and we'd run over, "Mommy, there's someone with Down syndrome." We would go and introduce ourselves, you know, and it just made our lives so much more interesting.
So Zach is 4.
At the time, he was just 3, just over 3.
And of course, we all know that he's a very bright child. And then how do you tell Zach about his sister?
Zachary, I think we told him from the word go, "Your sister's extra special." That's all we told him, really. She's extra special. And we would say to him, it's going to take a little longer to do certain things. So how's this? Olivia doesn't walk for 5 years. I remember that story. Yeah. I had to carry her for 5 years of my life. I would go to the shops. She wouldn't stand by herself. She had like this motion thing where she wouldn't stand by herself. And also low muscle tone. She had physio and early intervention from the word go. Like we literally started her off immediately with early intervention, because if you don't, what happens is she would be happy to sit in a corner and just do nothing.
And be by herself.
Yes, but we thought we'll bring out the best in her. So we started early intervention. So her university fees have been paid already.
Love it. Love it.
So she did cost us a bit of money, but we made sure that she got all the intervention that she needed.
So tell us about intervention. What will you do?
So, you know, fine motor skills and not being able to do anything for herself. For example, eat by herself. We would say if even having like holding a spoon or
a toy.
Yes, anything. So, and does she follow a toy? You know, can she grasp it? How long does it take her to start crawling? All those things. So we had to really work with her to get to all her milestones.
So it was a learning for all of you.
Everyone. But the thing is, she reached all her milestones. It might have taken 5 years, but she actually achieved those milestones, which were amazing. But the one day, I said to my mom, "You know, Mom, she's almost there, and all she needs to do is walk." We had to always send her to school with a facilitator. So because, you know, if you go to we also wanted to mainstream her because we wanted her to be around typical people.
Yes.
And we didn't want to put her like not bring out the best in her. Not that you won't, but I felt that if she was exposed to every other child, then she could probably learn, or they could learn something from her.
Yes.
And so we would always send her to school with a facilitator. She had an amazing facilitator for 3 years, and she would help her to walk up the stairs at school. And one day I said to my mom, "Mom, you know, she's almost there. She's literally about to walk." And my mom said, "I think you should bring her to Dad because he's good at that. You know, he showed Zachary to helped him to walk." And this day, Dad filmed her, and she said, "I can do this. I can walk. And he like sort of encouraged her, and she walked, and she took a step, and she took a step. But at the age of 5, we would have to go on a trip somewhere, and we would have to take a walker because Ollie wouldn't walk. I was always exhausted because I would have to pick her up. I would have to pick up the walker because sometimes she wouldn't want to use it.
Yes.
So yes, I was stretched, and I'm still very stretched.
So at 5, does Ollie then speak?
Yeah, she actually spoke very well from quite early. She would use good words and had a good vocabulary.
And so she could communicate with you.
Well, we actually decided at the age of 1, when she was 1 years old, we decided that if Ollie's not going to speak, we need to build a bridge for her to get to speak. So we decided to do a sign language course, and we decided to do sign language with her. And it was sort of, I think, a 9 to 5 kind of course that we did. And the afternoon we came home, that was Dion and myself, we taught the kids a few things, and that same day, Ollie would say she's thirsty, or she's hungry, or whatever she needs, the color blue and the grass, and we would know what she wanted. that moaning time at 4:00 in the afternoon when they're like, and, they don't know, and I would say to a typical child, I'd say, use your words, my darling, what do you need?
Yes.
Then she could say, I'm thirsty, you know? And the moment that, so we wouldn't just sign and drop the word and not use words. We would communicate by signing and
so
talking.
She could hear the word and what that means.
But the moment she was able to communicate verbally, she dropped the sign. So yes, so
that's very encouraging for parents to see
absolutely.
The progress.
But now that is my third child.
So the decision to actually send it to school, that must have been tough. Because you almost want to have her home.
Yes, you kind of think, what are people going to think about her? But actually, Dion and I are so proud of her. So we actually we really want people to know how amazing she is. And she sort of also has a sixth sense. So she can pick up exactly what kind of person you are just by being in a room with you. And she'll easily show you if she likes you or not. So we decided to send her to school because why should we not give her the education that she deserves?
Exactly. And be with children.
Yes. But because she developed a little slower, so we decided to only send her to school to like pre-grade R a year later than what she should have.
Yes.
And Ollie's gone through school now. Every year she's in grade 2. Most kids her age would be in grade 3, but her birthday's at the end of the year as well, so she was very little.
Yes.
And we just decided we'll hold her back before she actually had to start school. And she's gone through every grade, and she's passed every grade, and she's grade 2 at the moment. And she's at a great school at the moment who does it's like a home program curriculum for parents who homeschool their kids. But I'm not the kind to homeschool, so I get a teacher to do it for her. There's about 3-4 kids in the class. She gets individual attention, and she's flourishing. And
when you decided to put her in school, you and Dion chatted about this. The school received it
absolutely
openly.
Absolutely. So it obviously had to start with play school.
Yes.
And play schools, and so we sent it to the same play school that Zachary went to. And the same school that Zachary went to, and because of last year being in lockdown, we decided she did really well one-on-one with her facilitator. And we thought, you know what, if we had to take her out of a big school where the classrooms are more than 20 kids in a class, we could send her to a smaller school. If she gets that individual attention, maybe that would work for her. And we decided to do that this year, and it's working well.
So tell us how old Ollie is, how she's doing, and then subsequently what's happened since.
Yes. So Ollie's 8 years old, and she still gives me. Does she give you flack?
No,
she gives me great. She's got such a little attitude, and so she would. The thing. So there was always something that Ollie would struggle with. So for the 5 years was the walking.
Yes.
But at the moment, the struggle is to give you an answer. Make a choice. Ollie, yellow or green? Yellow or green, Ollie? Yellow or green? She'll just sort of not give me an answer. And I'll go, give me an answer. So we're getting there. And what we do is, we speech therapists. There's always a way to fix something. So, you know what?
So there's help out there.
There's always help, you know. You don't have, if she's not answering me, you speech therapist, please help me. Ollie's not answering. So we find new ways to communicate and to say something. So that's just what's happening at the moment.
And then the 2 siblings.
So
now we have Zachary and Ollie. And so tell us about that relationship first.
The relationship with Ollie and Zachary, it's beautiful. Zachary, I think he's much older than his actual age. He's 11 right now, but
he's an old soul.
He's an old soul, and he really takes care of his sister. He's extremely empathetic, and not just towards her, but I think towards other kids as well. So I've also noticed we would have a family gathering, and he would take responsibility for all the 8 grandchildren, which is not his responsibility, but he feels that he's got to keep so the parents can relax. So he's very responsible.
Yes.
Loves his sister Shane. I think he takes too much on at times, but it's beautiful to see how much he loves her and what he would do for her. And then subsequently. We had another baby. Her name is Philippa. Philippa is now 2.5.
And that pregnancy
was perfect. I mean, I'm not a very good pregnant person. I don't like the way I feel when I'm pregnant, but that's all good. So my pregnancy was good, and obviously we did all the tests and everything was, there were there was nothing to worry about.
Okay.
And we had Philippa, and she's actually very much like Zachary. So she also cares about us. So Ollie had an oral the other day at school, and she chose the topic I'm special. And Philippa, then one day Zachary WhatsApps me to say, Mom, Philippa is saying Ollie's oral. She was standing in front of Ollie's poster, and she was reciting Ollie's oral for school, and she said, Ollie has an extra copy of the 21st chromosome. I have it filmed. It's incredible. So,
and how old is Philippa now?
She's 2.5, and she's really, really cute, but a little terror. Third child. I don't know what we did, but she does test her. She is almost already Ollie's older sister.
Oh yeah. So she kind of taken charge and taken care of Ollie.
Ollie will always be our baby, I think.
Oh, Vanessa. And so the 2.5-year-old has this middle sister who needs a little bit of extra care.
Yes.
And you see this play out amongst your 3 children. Normal family life.
Yes. We don't treat Ollie
any different. Yeah.
Does
she get disciplined?
She gets disciplined. We do naughty corner with Philippa, or time out kind of thing. And we do it according to their age. So 2 minutes, Philippa does 2.5 minutes in the naughty corner now. Look, Zachary, he'll get a firm talking to because he's not at that age anymore. But Ollie, if she needs to be disciplined, she gets disciplined, and we don't treat her any differently. Then she say, "But I'm special." Yes, we know you're special. Everyone's special. So
the Govender home is a absolutely normal home, like any family, where there's fun and discipline.
Yes, and lots of love and
lots of love. And so the journey for you as a mummy,
yes,
it couldn't have been easy.
No.
And it's not easy. No. And so I just want to know about where your strength comes from. Yes. Where is there help? Nobody has to journey and do this alone.
Correct.
So as we wrap up, just kind of give our viewers a sense of how did you get through this time? Because men get through it differently.
Correct.
Yes.
So I've realized that life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. My family obviously have been a real support, amazing support. My sisters, my mom, my brother, my dad, my sister-in-law, family and friends, great friends. Our friends are our family.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Dion and I, we have an anchor for our souls, and that's Jesus. So he's anchored us, and we draw our strength from Jesus.
Love it.
That is what gets us through every single day.
One day at a time.
One day
like we
at a
all
time.
do.
You never know what next week's going to look like.
Yes.
So I can't look too far ahead. Yes, we can vision, dream, and say this is what I would like to see for Ollie's life,
yes,
or what we would like her to achieve. But you know what? She will also tell you when she's not able to get to something. But we look up and we say, "Please, Lord, help us get through this." And I think that is the reason why we are such a happy little family.
Love it. On that note, Vanessa Govender, thank you for coming to share with us your story.
Thank you so much for having me, Rhonda, once more. I'm so grateful, and you're amazing.
If you enjoyed this episode, won't you please like, subscribe, and share? See you next time on the set of My Story.